Harry didn't just look distant last night, he looked haunted. And honestly, can you blame him? Meghan's Paris stunt wasn't random. It mirrored the single most painful night of his life, the loss of his mother. And now, standing beside her, he looks like a man who's reliving his worst nightmare, one photo up at a time. We're going to talk about all this and more, but before we begin, here's the intro. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. In this video, what we're going to go through are a couple of the clips I made yesterday. So we'll go through all that video footage. And then I want to talk about how meekness can sometimes be used by a narcissist as strategy, how it's part of reeling you back in when they have gone too far, and also what you can do to spot when you are in the middle of one of these cycles. I've been doing a series on my channel that is about the narcissistic stare, and I believe that that is exactly what we're seeing here. Megan is gazing at him, what looks like it's lovingly, but then there's such a satisfied look when she looks back. I think what's happening here is she is signaling Harry to move with her eyes. She is also trying to look like she is adoring him, but that is not what's happening. In my opinion, this was a look of control. And you can see that Harry, out of the corner of his eye, he must have seen Megan's head look towards him. It gets really close to his shoulder, maybe even bumps his shoulder. And then she gets very satisfied that she's able to control him with a single look. In this next moment, Harry is addressing or meeting someone, talking to them, but Meghan wants to jump in on the conversation. Here it is. You'll see Meghan touch the back of Harry's elbow and then gaze at the person who is the person that she wants to be speaking with. Is very similar to what she did in Jamaica when Harry was speaking to the prime minister and she wanted actually to talk to him too. So I'm going to try to find that clip. And if I do, I'm going to insert it right after this round of this clip plays. It's so wild to me how much she tries to control without ever saying a word. When she does finally greet him, she goes straight for Harry's hand. And what I see is Harry almost flicks her hand away. Tell me if you see that too. He fiddles with his coat to try, or his suit jacket, to try to avoid holding her hand. I've seen him try this technique before at in other occasions. I'm trying to remember when exactly I've seen him do that. I want to say the Commonwealth Day 2020, perhaps. I'm going to brainstorm that. Let me know in the comments if you can think of when another time was that Harry was messing with his suit in order to avoid holding her hand. This next clip is actually the first clip that I saw from this event. And it's when they are already done walking the carpet and they're going backstage. And what I see is Meghan, she's trying to act like she's submissive, but we've seen from all the other clips that the act really fell a bunch of times. So, in my opinion, she was trying to act like she was meek and Harry was the one in control, but her controlling behavior slipped out multiple times. And you'll actually see that her mask will drop once she's behind the door or the wall. She doesn't think anyone's looking, but we see you, Meghan. We see you. So she has a mask slip at that moment when Harry turns around to speak to somebody else. And then she notices the cameras are on her and she gives the fake smile that doesn't reach her eyes. And the last clip I want to show you is of Harry finishing up his speech. And this is the first time that I've seen that he doesn't introduce Meghan because Meghan is about to give her speech as well. So let's watch that moment.
Return to reality.
This is a major change. In all of these clips, I think we can look at the big picture of what we're seeing. Megan is trying to fake meekness, and that's what this video is going to be about. That it is all an act. And we're going to talk about why it is that she's acting that way and what's really under the surface of all of this. And I'm also going to give you some tips on how to recognize if you may be experiencing this and you've broken free. And in my opinion, I think this was all already unraveling during the Kevin Costner event. Many of you saw the footage where Harry gets on stage and Megan goes up to greet him while he has the microphone, and he's very dismissive of her, something we haven't really seen him do before. Now, by that point, Harry had already gone to the UK and had the meeting with his father. And what I think has had Megan on a spiral since then. Also, let me rewind. The other thing that happened during Harry's trip to the UK, when he also met with his father, was the Well Child Awards. And at the Well Child Awards, somebody asked him what his favorite Netflix shows were, and he did not say With Love Megan. According to Radar Online and other sources, Megan blew a gasket about this. So I think there was a lot of anger that has been brewing in Megan. And I think that she tried to create an extra trauma bond with Harry, tried to trigger Harry, tried to make him more reliant on her by the stunt she pulled driving through the streets of Paris. In my opinion, there is no way that that was an accident. That was done, I believe, to punish Harry, to get an emotional reaction out of him. And I think she realized she went too far. And that's why we are seeing all of this pretend meekness that she's not even good at keeping up for longer than, I mean, how long were they walking from one end of that carpet to the other? 5 minutes? Not even. She couldn't even hold it together for those maximum 5 minutes. Let's talk about the performance of meekness and using sweetness as a strategy. Before we get deep into the breakdown, I want to be clear about something. When I talk about the victim in a narcissistic dynamic, I'm not talking about someone powerless. I'm talking about someone who's been targeted, someone whose empathy, loyalty, and intuition were used against them. Because the truth is, people like that aren't weak, they're strong. They're the ones who kept showing up, trying to make sense of the chaos until they finally saw the truth for what it was. So, as we dive in, keep that in mind. The victim here is actually the survivor. When a narcissist gets caught, most people expect anger or defensiveness, but what actually happens can feel almost surreal. Instead of rage, they go soft. They act sweet, calm, even tender. It feels like a complete personality shift, but it's not healing, its strategy. Let's break down what's really happening when the narcissist suddenly becomes meek. The first thing is that they enter image management mode. When exposed, a narcissist's biggest fear, loss of admiration and control, is triggered. Acting meek or sweet becomes a performance to repair their image. It's a strategic pivot from powerful and in charge to harmless and misunderstood. This helps them seem too gentle or too confused to be guilty. The second is a manipulative contrast. The sweetness is designed to make the accuser look cruel or unstable. If the narcissist appears calm, soft spoken, and wounded, then any strong emotional reaction from the victim can be reframed as overreaction or aggression. It's a psychological game where they flip the narrative to seem like they're the ones being wronged. The third is covert control through submission. The submissive posture isn't genuine remorse, it's another way of dominating. By appearing compliant or humble, they invite sympathy and it results in you lowering your guard. Once you relax, they reassert control subtly, often through guilt and pity plays. And here's a statement we've all heard so many times where they say, I just can't do anything right, or they will follow up with promises to change. The fourth is denial and gaslighting as defense. Even while acting meek, they'll still deny wrongdoing. That contradiction, sweet tone but a firm denial, keeps you off balance. It's a way to make you question your memory. Maybe I misunderstood because they seem so sincere now. The fake humility isn't random, it's part of something bigger. What looks like sweetness is actually the beginning of a reset. They've gone too far, they feel you pulling away, and now the goal shifts, and it is to reel you back in. This is where the cycle restarts, and this is why I call this the mini and love bomb phase. They've gone too far and they know it. When a narcissist senses that their supply might pull away, the survival instinct kicks in. They realize their usual intimidation or blame isn't working, so they pivot. The sweetness is not empathy, it's strategy. They're thinking, I need to make this person feel safe enough to stay. This is a mini love bombing phase. This sugar and submission act is their version of pressing reset. You'll notice that they'll have softer eyes, a gentle tone, or even tears. Compliments like, you're the only one who understands me, or there might be over politeness or sudden affection. It's familiar bait designed to reactivate your empathy. They're reselling the version of themselves you fell for, the good one. Emotional whiplash is also used as control. The contrast between cruelty and sweetness creates cognitive dissonance. Your brain can't reconcile both versions of them, so it starts searching for ways to make it make sense. For example, you might start telling yourself maybe they didn't mean it, or maybe they're changing. That confusion binds you closer because now you're invested in solving the emotional puzzle that they created. Finally, there's re idealization without accountability. The key difference between genuine remorse and this tactic is no ownership. They act sweet, but they never truly admit fault. It's all tone, no accountability, because to them, control matters more than truth. But here's where it gets even more manipulative. This meek, soft behavior isn't just for you, it's a performance for everyone watching. Even after their partner believes them, the narcissist keeps acting innocent because the real goal isn't reconciliation, it's reputation control. And speaking of control, here are 4 ways that a narcissist does it. The first way they do that is by controlling the narrative and not the truth. For a narcissist, what matters isn't whether others believe the lie, it's that they control the story. Acting meek or gentle reinforces that narrative. They're saying, see, I could never do something cruel. It's like a costume that keeps them in the role of the misunderstood one. It's like a costume that keeps them in the role of the misunderstood one, ensuring that others, and sometimes even the victim, internalize that version of events. There's preemptive image maintenance. Even if the partner publicly defends them, the narcissist knows perception is fragile. They stay in this sweet mode to fortify their image, not out of fear of being caught, but to keep admiration and protect supply. It's insurance against future cracks in the story. There's also emotional conditioning that's happening here. They want the victim to associate confrontation or truth telling with guilt or discomfort. By acting fragile and submissive, they make you feel like you're the bully for ever doubting them. That keeps you from confronting them again later, which is exactly what they want. And finally, there's reinforcing power through pity. This act flips the power dynamic. Instead of being the aggressor, they become the wounded one, subtly making you their emotional caretaker. Once pity replaces anger, the power balance resets in their favor. That's why they often maintain the meek persona even after they've gotten away with it. So even if their denial works, in quotation marks, they continue performing innocence to cement the illusion and to remind everyone how good they are. But once you start to see that their meekness is really about managing perception, you can start watching for the microtells, the small cracks that give away the act. And here are 5 ways to recognize that. Their tone softens, but their words don't take ownership. They'll speak in a quieter, almost fragile tone, but listen carefully. They'll say things like, I guess I just can't do anything right. I didn't realize you'd be so hurt. Notice how that sounds remorseful, but it avoids true accountability. It's tone over truth. The second is they mirror your emotions to soften you. They'll suddenly match your energy, gentle, calm, even teary, because it disarms you. It's not empathy, it's mimicry. Their goal is to lower your defenses so you stop questioning them. Number 3, they offer performative gestures instead of genuine repair. You might get small acts of kindness, a sweet text, a favor, a soft apology, but it's all surface level. There's no actual discussion about what happened or how they'll change. It's image management dressed as effort. Number four, they flip the dynamic into self pity. Instead of acknowledging harm, they become the victim. They could say something like, I just feel so terrible about how you see me. Now you're the one that ends up comforting them, which resets the control dynamic. And number five, the meekness vanishes once you let your guard down. This is the biggest tell. The moment you relax, forgive, or reconnect emotionally, their tone shifts back. The humility was temporary, just long enough to regain power or sympathy. And now, here's the most powerful shift of all. The moment the act stops working, you'll see it in the victim first: quieter responses, stronger boundaries, calmer energy. That's when the dynamic flips. The narcissist loses the script because the performance only works if you're still watching. I want to close with five clear signs that the victim isn't falling for it anymore. The first is the victim starts responding with silence instead of emotion. They don't argue, explain, or defend anymore. They've realized that engagement, even anger, feeds the narcissist. Now they use quiet observation instead of emotional reaction. The narcissist feels this withdrawal like a power outage. The second is their body language no longer seeks approval. They stop leaning in, softening their tone, or reassuring the narcissist. Instead, they sound neutrally calm, composed, detached. It's the physical embodiment of I see through this now. The third is they focus on facts and not on feelings. When confronted with the poor me act, the victim may calmly repeat what actually happened instead of debating intent. They could say something like, you said this, it was hurtful, and that's what I'm addressing. They no longer let emotional manipulation derail accountability. Number four, they set boundaries without explaining them. There's no long justification, just clear limits. Saying things like, I'm not discussing that again, or that's not going to work for me. This signals that the victim has emotionally detached from the narcissist's approval loop. Finally, they start trusting their own perception again. The gaslighting stops working. They stop second guessing their memory or feelings and start anchoring in reality. You'll hear them say things like, no, that's not what happened, without wavering or apologizing for seeing the truth. What looks like humility in a narcissist is often just a rebranding of control. But once you see the performance for what it is, once you stop reacting and start observing, the power dynamic collapses. Their fake sweetness no longer feels confusing, it just feels obvious. I want to close out this video by saying that I know that I referred to the partner of the narcissist or anyone that's around the narcissist as a victim. I just want to clarify that when I say victim, I don't mean someone weak or broken. I use that word to describe the person on the receiving end of manipulation, the one who's been targeted but not defeated. Because surviving that kind of psychological warfare actually takes incredible strength. The victim in this context is the person who saw through it, who endured, who's learning to reclaim their voice and rebuild trust in their own perception. So if that's you, you're not just a victim, you're the one who made it out.